What misplaced focus of control, Epictetus, and missing the mark, Eckhart Tolle, have in common? We often expend considerable mental and emotional energy trying to control or change external events and people. Conversely, we view our emotional states, thoughts, and reactions, things that are fundamentally under our control, as if they are set in stone. If these are your questions, you've hit the nail on the head by clicking on this video. The great reversal, when control is misguided. The issue boils down to a misplaced focus of control, what Epictetus would probably describe as a fundamental misunderstanding of life's dynamics. This cognitive dissonance can be a major source of stress, unhappiness, and inefficiency in our lives. The illusion of control over others. As we said in the beginning, we often expend considerable mental and emotional energy trying to control or change external events and people, believing that if only they would conform to our desires, life would be better. This perception is not only exhausting, but also sets us up for constant disappointment, because people and events operate according to their own laws and motivations, which are often beyond our comprehension, let alone our control. The misbelief in emotional predestination. Contrastingly, our emotional realms, thoughts, and reactions, things we could direct, are often seen as unchangeable, as if chiseled in stone. This is an abandonment of our true power, rendering us passive spectators of our own lives. Refocusing through wisdom. The wisdom of Epictetus urges us to refocus our sense of control, advising us to cultivate an inner fortress, a mental space where we accept that, while we cannot dictate the script of the world around us, we can certainly choose how to act in our roles. The corrected path. Epictetus' ideal. If we correct this reversal of control focus, we shift towards a more stoic worldview. We begin to exercise agency over our internal states and learn to let go of our grip on the uncontrollable external world. It's like a switch flipping in our consciousness, redirecting our energies where they are most effective, and liberating us from self-imposed chains. The outcome of this corrected path is an empowered life, filled with less emotional turmoil and a greater sense of peace, because we're not continuously butting heads with reality. We may find a profound tranquility in surrendering our illusion of control over the external world, even as we reclaim command over our inner life. Do you see this pattern in your own life, or is it something you've observed in others? How does this notion resonate with you? I heard once Eckhart Tolle interpreting the word sin as to miss the mark, like an archer missing the target. As I interpret it, the real sin is actually something like, we're constantly making wrong judgments. Let's see. Sin as to miss the mark in Stoicism. The interpretation of sin as missing the mark makes the concept even more relatable to Stoic teachings, especially those of Epictetus. In archery, missing the mark doesn't carry a moral judgment, it's simply a failure to hit the target. In a similar vein, Stoicism views errors not as moral failings but as lapses in judgment or wisdom. Stoicism and to miss the mark. Epictetus would likely agree with the notion that, when we act contrary to reason, we are missing the mark in the sense that we're deviating from the Stoic goal of living according to nature or reason. Just like an archer aims for a physical target, Stoics aim for a life of virtue and wisdom. If the archer's arrow veers off course due to external conditions like the wind, or due to his own lack of skill, the Stoic might say that disturbances in our emotional or moral life are likewise due to external circumstances or our own mistaken beliefs. Where it aligns. Both concepts speak to the idea that we have a specific goal or target. For the archer, it's the bullseye. For the follower of Stoic philosophy, it's a life lived according to reason and virtue. When we fail to achieve these aims, we miss the mark, but this is seen as an opportunity for learning and growth, rather than a sinful act, deserving punishment. a nuanced perspectives. While sin, in many religious contexts, implies a need for repentance and divine forgiveness, missing the mark offers a more compassionate, educative perspective. This aligns well with Stoicism, which teaches that we should aim to improve our judgments and align them more closely with reason, rather than beating ourselves up for our mistakes. So, in summary, the interpretation of sin as missing the mark fits very well within the Stoic framework, particularly Epictetus' teachings about focusing on what we can control and striving to live a life of virtue. What are your thoughts on this alignment? In the context of Stoic philosophy, Epictetus would likely not use the term sin, but he would speak of errors in judgment or mistaken beliefs about what is truly good or bad. These errors occur when we place value on things outside of our control, material wealth, reputation, physical health, while neglecting our own rational faculties and moral character, which are within our control. In this sense, one could say we are missing the mark when we focus our energies wrongly. Aligning with Epictetus' dichotomy of control. The idea of missing the mark aligns well with Epictetus' division of control. If we're constantly worrying about external circumstances or other people's behavior, then we're missing missing of where our true agency lies. Instead, if we understand that our rational mind and moral virtues are where we should be focusing our energy, we are in line with Epictetan and broadly Stoic teachings. I wonder if to miss the mark gave birth to what we often say, I'm missing the point. Back to our exploration. Context matters. While the concept can fit within Stoic teachings, it's essential to note that sin carries theological weight in many cultures, linking it to divine judgment, guilt, and sometimes eternal consequences. Stoicism, by contrast, is more concerned with practical wisdom in earthly life. So, while the term sin might not be a perfect fit for the Stoic framework, the underlying idea of missing the mark or erring in judgment certainly is compatible. Does this interpretation align with what you had in mind? Eckhart Tolle's interpretation adds an interesting layer to this discussion. Tolle often draws from a variety of spiritual and philosophical traditions to make his points, and his idea that sin means to miss the mark aligns closely with a more universal, non-religious understanding of human failure or error. In this broader view, sin isn't necessarily a violation of divine law but rather a misunderstanding or misalignment with a higher form of wisdom or understanding, which is a perspective that Epictetus would likely appreciate. The bridge between philosophies. Both Tolle and Epictetus emphasize the importance of awareness, of being fully present and conscious of our choices, thoughts, and actions. To miss the mark, in both their teachings, results from a lack of this kind of awareness. For Tolle, it's about spiritual awakening. For Epictetus, it's about recognizing what's truly within our control and what isn't, leading to a form of philosophical enlightenment. The common ground here is the internal alignment of one's thoughts and actions with this deeper understanding or higher wisdom. For Tolle, to miss the mark would be failing to realize the oneness of all things and the illusion of the ego. For Epictetus, it's about the incorrect placement of value on external things, thus leading to emotional disturbances and ethical failures. So, although the language and cultural context may differ, the essence of what Tolle and Epictetus are pointing to seems to overlap significantly. This interpretation of sin as to miss the mark could indeed be a connecting thread between these different philosophies. See you in the next one.